Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video we take a look at the story for House DLC Melodies. This new update is a sequel of sorts to the tale told in the original version of House, and expands the lore substantially, even changing our perception of certain story aspects in the process. I have covered House and its story before in this video, and I'd recommend checking it out to catch yourself up to speed before diving into this one. However, I will offer a short recap of events to contextualize things and make this video accessible for House veterans and newcomers alike. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the story of House DLC Melodies. House tells the story of a family that recently moved into a new home. However, little did they realise that this relocation would lead to their imprisonment. The family was made up of 5 members: the father, mother, younger sister Melody, older sister Tabby, and the family cat. In the House DLC we play as Melody, however in the original version of the game we took control of her older sister Tabby. While playing as Tabby, our mission was to unlock 5 possible endings while trapped in what appeared to be a never-ending nightmare, with Tabby waking up every day at 8:30 AM and the day ending and time loop resetting at 12 PM. The house itself was a living demonic entity, home to all manner of hostile monsters, those who had fallen under its nefarious mind control in years past. You see, anyone who dies within this house is then claimed and bent to its dark purpose, transforming into a possessed demonic entity themselves. The house influenced Melody's father to kill her boyfriend Toby, whose body and ghost are now also bound to the house. The knowledge of this led to the mother to turn to alcohol as a coping mechanism, and Melody to fall into a state of despair. The father eventually becoming homicidal, and upon returning each day, went on a kill-crazy rampage. The only thing that seemed to calm him was his younger daughter Melody when she would play him a soothing and familiar song on the flute. To communicate directly with Tabby, the house channeled itself through an old doll. Upon achieving an ending, the doll, and by extension the house, would mock Tabby and the player in control of her, informing us that there was no escape and to stop trying. While sometimes we seemed to achieve a good ending, such as this gathering of the entire family around the kitchen table, they were in fact illusions and the clock always reset. But each ending seemed to weaken the house a little, exposing its true form when, after destroying the grandfather clock at its centre, time froze and the loop was interrupted. With this limbo, the house was laid bare as a living entity. Tabby managed to destroy its eyes, fingers, mouth, and most importantly, its beating heart. Upon doing so, the house died and revealed a void of darkness beneath. Here, Tabby located an elderly man, the puppet master who had taken control of her family and seemed to be quite literally pulling the strings. The old man tried to subdue Tabby, but she broke free, losing her arm in the process. Tabby vanquished the puppet master and managed to destroy the doll, the house still speaking through it, but now sounding afraid. After this bloodbath, Tabby sits by the pond outside the house and reflects on her escape, mourning the loss of her family to the entity within. It seems their fate was sealed and they would never be reunited. That was until the Melodies DLC. While Tabby may have escaped the house, she can still return to it in her dreams, never really free from its grasp. While she may have defeated its physical form, the malignant spirit of the house is very much alive, holding the rest of her family hostage. But there may be a way to save them still, or at least to save Tabby's younger sister Melody. When returning to the house via Tabby's dream, she discovers a doll fashioned around Melody's appearance, and when taking this doll to the long-necked neighbour, she is able to give up control of her body and transfer it to her sister. This awakens Melody from her predetermined route and grants her the ability to break away from the house's influence. However, things look very different around the house when she awakens. We can see this is a direct continuation of events after Tabby defeated the house and destroyed its physical form. The place is now overgrown, and evidence of the destruction left behind in Tabby's wake is clear to see. The broken toilet, the overfed rat, the smashed up grandfather clock, even the previously dangerous ghosts such as the Scissor Lady and Screaming Demon are now non-lethal. Some are even friendly as a result of Tabby lifting the house's control when she destroyed its heart. So if the house was defeated, why is Melody and her family still trapped inside? And why does the time loop continue to repeat? Well, it seems that while the body of the house was destroyed, its soul remains intact and able to hold influence over those trapped within its rotting walls. It can still take control of inanimate objects such as the piano and this rubber ducky, or even possess the corpse of Toby to chase Melody about. It even fades in and out of the physical plane as a shadowy entity itself that kills Melody on sight. So Melody must find a way to defeat the spirit side of her house and free herself in the process. And to do this, she uses the one thing that proved to be successful in separating her family from the house's control in the past: her musical talents. You see, by playing memorable tunes on the flute, Melody manages to communicate with her mother, father, and even late grandmother. After acquiring specific melodies which resonate with said family members, they snap out of their brainwashed state and come to her aid. The Melodies chapter not only gives us a slightly happier ending, it also changes our perception of events and characters quite drastically. It does this by adding additional context to major events. Previously, it always seemed as though the house this nightmare takes place within was somewhere random, a new home for this family. But after summoning the spirit of Melody's grandma, this is proven not to be the case. Grandma tells us Melody's bedroom used to belong to James, and James is confirmed to be the name of her father. So when James relocated to this house with his family, he was in fact returning to the home he grew up in. This leads us to speculate that perhaps the house wasn't always possessed, and that something happened more recently which allowed the demonic spirit to reside there. Or conversely, that James was always under the house's control as he grew up there, and the spirit resided there since he was a child. We have no conclusive evidence either way currently, but due to the ghosts roaming the house that seem to date back many years, it's perhaps more logical to conclude that this house was always haunted, and this went back to James's childhood. Further to this, we discover the identity of a creepy puppet master living below the house, who was controlling the bodies of those trapped within its walls. This was no random man, it was the grandfather of Tabby and Melody, and the father of James. We come to this conclusion based on a conversation with the grandmother, who states the following: "Your grandfather never liked this place though. I think spending an eternity here made him a little stir-crazy. Kept trying to move things in the material plane. Said something about taking control of a life he never had. He stormed off a few years ago. Haven't seen him since." And so we come to the end of this video with one important sequence of events to look into: the ending itself. If we survive until 6 AM and set everything up correctly, we are able to defeat a new character who enters the house in a bid to take a piece of Melody's soul, as well as her face. I have dubbed this character the Soul Collector. He is referenced by the ghost of Toby and Grandma as someone who visits the house each day to take a piece of one's soul until nothing remains. It seems this parasite is working with the house to claim its victims, removing their humanity a little at a time until they forget who they are completely and become lost in the void beneath. Upon escaping the house and entering the void, we encounter the past victims of this collector. those who didn't have anyone to help save them and now remain trapped and faceless for eternity, lost in darkness. Melody can escape though, at least if we play our cards right. A very specific sequence of events must be set up in order to defeat the Soul Collector and reunite with Tabby before escaping the house once and for all. Melody must play the correct musical pieces on her flute to wake up her mother and father from their hypnotized state. She must also reunite Toby's possessed corpse with his ghost so that the house loses control of its vessel and Toby can once again act as an aid to his long-lost girlfriend. Now when the Collector enters the building, we can use our vengeful family members to attack him. While he kills all of them in the process, Melody's family manage to weaken the Collector enough that she is able to cut his ankles and send him plummeting to his death in the void beneath the house. Melody then speaks with the ghosts of each of her family members, her mother, father and grandma, as well as her long-lost boyfriend Toby. She says goodbye to each of them as they apologise for the harm they caused her while under the influence of the house. Now finally able to rest in peace, they fade away, free from their purgatory prison. In the void below the house, Melody manages to recover the body of Tabby, who gave up control in order to save her. Melody drags her sister to safety and the two sit outside and reminisce about the good times before the misfortune of the house befell them. I always loved it here. Do you remember? Before the house, before everything, just me and you together in the garden. But now it's just an old memory, a fading reflection. We briefly glimpse the souls of those lost, watching over the two girls as they continue their life anew. Tabby took a chance and gave up control to save Melody, and it seems to have paid off. Although we do get a post-credits sequence where the two girls watch TV and are able to switch channels. Now this wouldn't seem out of the ordinary if it wasn't for two very strange channels, each displaying one of the two sisters trapped inside. By selecting these channels, we are able to return via memories as both Melody or Tabby, suggesting that perhaps while their bodies escaped, their souls remain somehow tied to this house. Perhaps this story will continue in future updates, but for now, this is where it ends. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments section below, and remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. And of course subscribe for more horror related content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.